My parents told everyone I was a failure, then my name showed up in the news. Hey everyone! Before we dive into today's story, let me know where you're watching from in the comments below. If you're enjoying our content, please hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, and don't forget to click the notification bell so you never miss our amazing stories. Share this with friends who love great storytelling. The knife scraped against the china plate, and I wished I could disappear. I sat at the dining table, surrounded by 20 relatives, all laughing at my brother Marcus's latest promotion. My sister Rachel beamed as people congratulated her on finishing medical school. Then my mother turned to me. "And Lena," she said with that tight smile I knew too well, "still hasn't figured her life out." The laughter rippled around the table. My chest tightened. My father set down his wine glass and nodded slowly. "She's always been our biggest disappointment." He said it casually, like commenting on the weather. The room went completely silent. All eyes landed on me. My Aunt Sarah looked down at her plate. My cousin Jake smirked. I forced my lips into a smile, but inside, something cracked. My throat burned with unshed tears. I couldn't breathe properly. "Excuse me," I whispered, pushing back my chair. The legs scraped loudly against the hardwood floor. I grabbed my purse and walked toward the door, my mother's voice following me. "Oh, don't be so sensitive, Lena. We're just being honest." I heard someone laugh as I stepped outside into the cold night air. My hands shook as I gripped the steering wheel. The streetlights blurred through my tears. I pulled into my apartment parking lot and just sat there, engine running. My phone buzzed. A voicemail from my mother. I pressed play. "Lena, you embarrassed us tonight. Don't bother coming to the next family gathering. We need to set better examples for the younger cousins." Her tone was ice cold. The message ended with a click. Another notification popped up. Someone added me to a family WhatsApp group I'd never seen before. Messages flooded in. My uncle, "Lena's always been dramatic." My cousin, "She's wasting her degree on pipe dreams." My brother, "Mom's right. Someone needs to tell her the truth." Nobody defended me. Not a single person. I scrolled through the messages, each one a fresh knife wound. My own family was discussing my failures like I was broken. I threw my phone onto the passenger seat and cried until my head pounded. The next morning, reality hit harder than the hangover from crying. Rent was due in 3 days. I had exactly $217 in my checking account. My landlord had already sent 2 warning emails. I opened my laptop to check my job applications. Rejection. 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 15 applications, 15 numbers. The latest one was from a marketing firm I'd really wanted. "We've decided to move forward with other candidates." I closed the laptop and stared at the water stain on my ceiling. My phone buzzed. A text from Marcus, "Mom says you're wasting your life on pipe dreams. Maybe it's time to get a real job? I can ask around at my firm if you want." His pity felt worse than Mom's cruelty. I didn't respond. Then I saw an email I'd missed yesterday. Subject line, "Your application to Summit Innovation Incubator." My heart sank, preparing for another rejection. I opened it slowly. The first line read, "Unfortunately, we cannot accept your proposal at this time." But then I noticed a PS at the bottom, "However, we'd like to schedule a follow-up call to discuss alternative opportunities. Are you available next Tuesday?" Tuesday came faster than I expected. I sat in a coffee shop downtown, my phone on speaker, talking to Maya Patel. She was one of the judges from a conference I'd attended 6 months ago. I'd pitched my idea then, a sustainable design prototype for solar-powered water filtration systems for rural communities. "Lena, I remember your presentation," Maya said warmly. "You had something real. Why did you stop working on it?" I hesitated. How could I explain that my parents called it a waste of time? That they told me to get a stable job, stop dreaming, be realistic? "Life got complicated," I said quietly. Maya was silent for a moment. Then she said something that changed everything. "I run a small grant program for underrepresented innovators. It's not much, $5,000, but it's seed money. I think your project deserves a chance." My hands trembled. $5,000 wouldn't solve everything, but it was more than belief. It was proof that someone saw value in my work. "I don't know what to say," I whispered. Maya laughed softly. "Say yes. Then get back to work." I signed the grant agreement that afternoon in Maya's office. But as I walked to my car, my parents' voices echoed in my head. Biggest disappointment. What if they were right? What if I failed again? My apartment became my laboratory. I cleared the dining table and spread out my sketches, notes, and the single prototype I'd built months ago. The design was simple, a compact solar panel connected to a filtration chamber that could purify water using UV light and charcoal. I worked 16-hour days. Coffee became my best friend. I taught myself coding through YouTube tutorials, building a monitoring app to track water quality. My neighbor banged on the wall at 2 in the morning when I tested the pump system. Progress felt slow. Every small victory was followed by 3 failures. I recorded voice memos to stay motivated. "You're doing this for people who need clean water. Not for approval." I played them back whenever doubt crept in. Then, after 2 weeks of non-stop work, I had it. A fully functional prototype. The solar panel charged perfectly. The filtration worked. The app displayed real-time data. I laughed out loud, alone in my apartment, tears streaming down my face. I reached for my laptop to save all the data. My finger hit the power button. Nothing happened. The screen stayed black. The power had cut out. I hadn't paid my electricity bill. I got the power back on the next day by borrowing money from my only friend, Tessa. She was a graphic designer who believed in my project even when I didn't. "You'll pay me back when you're famous," she joked. I wished I had her confidence. I decided to share my small success online. I posted a photo of my prototype on LinkedIn with a simple caption, "After months of work, my sustainable water filtration system is finally working. Small steps toward big change." I hoped maybe some local environmental groups would notice. Within an hour, the post started getting traction. But not the kind I wanted. My cousin Jake commented first, "Did you really make this, or is this another one of your delusions?" Then others piled on. People from high school, distant relatives, random trolls. "Looks like something from a thrift store. Desperate for attention much?" Another failed project waiting to happen. The post went viral for all the wrong reasons. Someone created a meme using my photo. Another person dug up my old failed Kickstarter campaign from 2 years ago and posted screenshots. "Remember when she tried to launch a recycling app that crashed? This girl never learns." Then I saw it. My parents had both liked the post mocking me. My mother even commented a laughing emoji. My father shared it to his timeline with the caption, "When you raise kids, some turn out better than others." I sat on my bathroom floor at 3 in the morning, my laptop open to my project folder. My cursor hovered over the delete button. One click and everything would disappear. All the late nights, all the hope, all the pain. Maybe my family was right. Maybe I was wasting my time. My phone rang. Maya. At 3 in the morning. I saw what happened online, she said gently. Don't you dare quit. I couldn't speak. My throat was too tight. Lena, listen to me. The people who mock you today will write articles about you tomorrow. That's how this works. You're threatening them by trying. Her words hit me like thunder. They're scared because you're actually doing something, Maya continued. Most people talk about changing the world. You're building it with your own hands. That's terrifying to small-minded people. We talked for an hour. By the time I hung up, the sun was rising through my window. I looked at my laptop screen. My cursor was still on that delete button. I moved it away and closed the laptop instead. That morning, I saw an email about an innovation challenge. The Global Youth Innovation Summit. 3 months away. Top prize, $50,000 in mentorship from industry leaders. I stared at the application deadline. Then I started typing. The convention center was enormous, filled with bright lights and hundreds of booths. I stood in my assigned space with my simple folding table, my prototype sitting on a tablecloth I'd borrowed from Tessa. Around me, other entrepreneurs had elaborate displays, matching t-shirts, professional banners. I felt tiny. But I was here. I'd made it through the application process, survived the preliminary judging, and earned this spot. The summit was full of people from prestigious universities, startup founders with funding, teams with matching polos. And me, with my handmade prototype and homemade poster. Then I saw them. My parents. Walking through the main entrance with Marcus, who was apparently a judge's assistant this year. Of course he was. They were here to support him, not me. My mother caught my eye from across the room. She looked surprised, then quickly looked away. My presentation slot was at 2 o'clock. By 1:30, a crowd had gathered. Investors, journalists, other competitors. I took a deep breath and started my demo. I explained the solar panel, the filtration process, the app interface. Everything was working perfectly. Then the pump made a strange noise. The water flow stopped. The crowd leaned forward. The screen on my app showed an error message. My prototype had just malfunctioned in front of 200 people. Nervous laughter rippled through the audience. Someone whispered, "Technical difficulties, classic." I saw my father across the room shake his head slowly, his face full of pity. My mother looked away completely, pretending she didn't know me. Marcus scrolled on his phone, not even watching. My face burned with humiliation. Every fear I'd ever had was coming true right here, right now, in front of everyone. The judges waited patiently, but I could see their interest fading. One checked his watch. Another made a note on her tablet. But I didn't leave. I stood there, took apart the pump casing with shaking hands, and found the problem, a loose connection. I fixed it in 30 seconds and restarted the demo. This time, it worked. Water flowed through the filters. The app displayed perfect readings. The UV light glowed steady blue. I finished my pitch. My voice cracked only once. The judges thanked me politely and moved on to the next booth. I knew that tone. That was rejection wrapped in professional courtesy. I started packing up my prototype, fighting back tears. As I headed toward the exit, someone touched my elbow. An older man in an expensive suit handed me a business card. "Ethan Cross, Cross Innovations," he said quietly. "Call me tomorrow. Don't give up yet." Then he disappeared into the crowd. I called Ethan the next morning from my car, hands shaking. He answered on the first ring. I've been in this industry 30 years, he said. I've seen 1,000 pitches. Most are just talk. Yours had substance. You actually built something that works. We met at a small office downtown. Ethan explained that he ran a private innovation lab. He didn't offer money, not yet, but something more valuable. Access to professional equipment, mentorship, and connections. I'll give you lab space 3 days a week. You keep ownership of everything. Deal? It felt too good to be true. Why me? I asked. Ethan leaned back in his chair. Because you fixed that pump on stage. Most people would have frozen or made excuses. You solved the problem. That's what matters in this field. As I was leaving, Ethan said something that stuck with me. Fair warning, if you succeed, people you thought loved you will turn on you. Success makes people uncomfortable. It holds up a mirror to their own choices. I thought about my parents. About the WhatsApp group. About the mocking comments. Maybe they'd already turned on me. Maybe I had nothing left to lose. I shook Ethan's hand and signed the agreement. For the first time in months, I felt something dangerous stirring inside me. Hope. The next 3 months were a blur. I worked at Ethan's lab every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. On other days, I did freelance graphic design work to pay rent. I upgraded my prototype with better materials. I refined the app. I tested everything obsessively until it was perfect. I learned to code Python from online courses. I studied water quality standards from WHO publications. I reached out to environmental engineers on LinkedIn, asking questions, absorbing knowledge. Some ignored me. A few responded with advice that changed everything. Slowly, my design evolved. The new version was smaller, more efficient, and cheaper to produce. I calculated that each unit could provide clean water for 50 people at a cost of just $200 per unit. In remote villages without infrastructure, this could save lives. Then something unexpected happened. A small sustainability blog called EcoVoice reached out for an interview. Their headline read, "Unknown engineer creates revolutionary eco-device." The article was only shared 300 times, but those 300 people mattered. Grant organizations, environmental nonprofits, and a few journalists started following my work. My phone rang one evening. A local innovation summit wanted me to speak on a panel about grassroots engineering. Me, on a stage, sharing my story. My stomach twisted with anxiety, but I said yes. The panel went better than I expected. I talked about building things with limited resources, about learning from failure, about staying focused when people doubt you. My voice didn't shake. Afterward, 3 people asked for my contact information. A journalist from the city newspaper requested an interview. The article came out 2 weeks later. Local engineer develops low-cost water solution for rural communities. It wasn't front-page news, but it was real. It was validation. The article got shared on social media a few hundred times, then a few thousand. That's when my mother called. I stared at her name on my screen for 4 rings before answering. "We saw you on Facebook," she said, her voice strange, not quite proud, not quite apologetic. "People are sharing your article. Is this real? Did you actually build something?" I wanted to scream. Where were you when I needed you? Where were you when I was crying on my bathroom floor? Instead, I said calmly, "Yes, it's real. I've been working on this for months." There was a long pause. Then my father's voice in the background, "Let's see if it lasts this time." My mother made a non-committal sound. "Well, good for you, Lena. Maybe you'll make something of yourself after all. The call ended. I sat in my car outside the lab, angry and hurt and confused. Part of me wanted their approval. Part of me wanted to prove I didn't need it. Hope you're loving this story so far. Quick reminder to drop a comment telling us your city or country. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time. Hit that like button if you're enjoying this, share it with someone special, and turn on notifications to stay updated with all our incredible stories. My mother invited me home for dinner 2 weeks later. Just a small family thing, she said. I almost said no. But something made me go, maybe curiosity, maybe a foolish hope that they'd changed. The house looked the same. The same photos on the wall, the same smell of my mother's cooking. But the atmosphere was different. My parents were overly polite, almost formal. So, this water project, my father said, cutting his steak carefully, is it making you any money? My brother Marcus sat across from me, watching with that same smirk from childhood. Yeah, Lena, when's the payday? I explained that I was working with non-profits, focusing on impact over profit. My mother frowned. So you're still not making real money. You should consider Marcus's offer to get you an interview at his firm. Rachel, my sister, tried to be supportive. I think it's cool, Lena. Even if it doesn't work out. Even if. Those 2 words said everything. They were being polite, but underneath, nothing had changed. I was still the disappointment. Then my phone buzzed on the table. A text from Maya, call me ASAP. Big news. I excused myself to the bathroom and called her. You're not going to believe this, she said, breathless. Morning Live wants you on their show. National television. They saw the newspaper article. My heart stopped. For days later, I sat in a makeup chair at the Morning Live studio in New York. The producer briefed me, 7 minutes. Tell your story, keep it personal, keep it hopeful. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. Millions of people were about to hear my story. The host, Jennifer Clark, was warm and professional. We talked about my prototype, about my mission to provide clean water, about working from my apartment. Then she asked the question I'd been dreading. What kept you going when things got hard? I took a breath. My family called me their biggest disappointment. They told everyone I was wasting my life. I almost believed them. Jennifer's eyes widened. But then I realized I wasn't building this for their approval. I was building it because people need clean water. And that matters more than being called a failure. The interview ended. I walked off the set, legs wobbling. Within an hour, the clip was online. By evening, it had 2 million views. By the next morning, 15 million. Comments poured in from people sharing their own stories of family rejection. Then the news headlines started appearing. Engineer's story inspires millions. Water device gains international attention. Lena Moore's invention may change clean energy forever. I sat in my hotel room, unable to process what was happening. My phone exploded. Text after text after text. Relatives I hadn't heard from in years, Lena. So proud of you. We always believed in you. My cousin Jake, who'd mocked my LinkedIn post, hey, no hard feelings about before, right? What you're doing is amazing. My uncle, your parents must be thrilled. My old high school friends, remember me? We should catch up. Every person who doubted me, laughed at me, or stayed silent while others tore me down, suddenly they all wanted to be part of my story. Then my mother called. We're having a celebration dinner this Friday. Family only. We want to celebrate your success properly. Her voice was sweet, controlled. Like none of the cruelty had ever happened. Like she hadn't called me a disappointment 6 weeks ago. I wanted to say no. But curiosity won. I wanted to see their faces. I wanted to watch them pretend they'd always supported me. Maybe I was petty. Maybe I was hurt. Maybe I just needed to see it for myself. I'll be there, I said. My mother sounded relieved. Wonderful. And Lena, we're something nice. We're inviting a few family friends too. Of course they were. This wasn't about me. This was about them showing off. Friday came. I drove to my childhood home with a quiet power I'd never felt before. I wasn't the scared girl who'd left that dinner table in tears. I was someone different now. The dining room was packed. Not just immediate family, cousins, aunts, uncles, my parents' friends from the country club. Everyone dressed up, champagne glasses in hand. Photos of me from the morning live interview played on the TV. My father stood and raised his glass. A toast to our daughter, Lena. We couldn't be prouder. She gets her determination from us. We always taught our children to dream big. The room erupted in applause. My mother beamed beside him. I felt sick. They were rewriting history in real time. Everyone was nodding, smiling, congratulating my parents on raising such an ambitious daughter. I caught Marcus's eye. He looked uncomfortable. Then my Aunt Sarah spoke up. Wait, she said slowly, confused. Aren't you the same parents who called Lena your biggest disappointment? That was only 2 months ago. The room went silent. My father's smile froze. My mother's face turned red. My Uncle Tom nodded. Yeah, I remember. You told her not to come to family gatherings anymore. More people started murmuring. My father tried to laugh it off. That was just tough love. But his voice wavered. Someone at the party posted about the awkward confrontation on social media. By the next morning, #LenaFamilyDinner was trending on Twitter. Screenshots of my parents' old Facebook comments mocking me circulated widely. People were furious. Imagine calling your daughter a failure then taking credit when she succeeds. This is textbook narcissistic parenting. Lena Moore's parents are the real disappointment here. The tweets multiplied by the thousands. News outlets picked up the story. My parents' photos appeared in articles about toxic families. My phone rang constantly. My mother, my father, Marcus, Rachel, all calling, all texting variations of the same message. Please fix this. Please tell people we support you. This is destroying our reputation. Your father's colleagues are seeing this. We need you to make a statement. My father left a voicemail. Lena, we made mistakes, but we're still your family. Don't let the internet ruin us. My mother texted, how can you let strangers attack us like this? After everything we've done for you? I stared at the messages. After everything they'd done for me? I drafted a tweet, deleted it, drafted another. Finally, I posted, I forgive my parents for their words. But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. Some lessons are learned through pain. I'm grateful for mine. Short. Simple. True. The tweet went viral too. But it didn't save my parents from the consequences. Their country club asked them to take a leave from the board. My father's business partner distanced their firm from the controversy. 3 weeks after the morning live interview, I got an email that changed everything. Subject line, acquisition proposal, Clean Water Global. They were one of the biggest environmental technology companies in the world. They wanted to buy my patent, license my design, and scale production globally. The offer was staggering. $2 million upfront, plus royalties on every unit sold. A 5-year consulting contract. My own research budget. I read the email 3 times, convinced it was spam. Then the company's CEO called me directly to confirm it was real. I met with Ethan at the lab. He reviewed the contract carefully. This is life-changing money, Lena. But be careful. Companies like this will want to control your narrative. They'll want to put their executives in front of cameras. Make sure your name stays on everything. He was right to worry. The contract's first draft had a clause about joint attribution that would have let Clean Water Global claim they collaborated on the invention from the start. I had my lawyer revise it. My name on everything. My story unchanged. Or no deal. Clean Water Global agreed to the revisions. We scheduled the signing for the following Monday. That weekend, I got a strange email. The subject line read, "I may be able to help from David Moore." My father. I opened my father's email with my stomach in knots. "Dear Clean Water Global team," it began. He'd written directly to the company's acquisitions department, copying their CEO. "I'm reaching out as Lena Moore's father and early supporter. I provided significant guidance during her development process and believe I should be credited as a project advisor." He went on to describe how he'd encouraged her engineering interests from childhood and provided the stable home environment necessary for creative thinking. He even suggested a press release mentioning family support as a foundation for innovation. The email was dated 3 days ago. He'd sent it secretly, trying to insert himself into my success before the signing. My hands shook with rage. He'd called me a failure. He'd told me to give up. And now he wanted credit? I forwarded the email to my lawyer and to Maya. Then I made a decision. I forwarded it to 3 journalists who'd been covering my story. I included a note, "Transparency matters. Here's what happens when success arrives." By evening, the story broke. Inventor's father attempts to claim credit for daughter's work. The article included screenshots of the WhatsApp messages from months ago alongside my father's recent email. The contrast was devastating. The backlash was immediate and brutal. My father's law firm released a statement distancing themselves from his personal matters. Former clients began reviewing their contracts. My mother's book club asked her to step down. Their friends stopped calling. My brother Marcus sent me an angry text, "Are you happy now? Dad might lose his partnership because of you." I didn't respond. This wasn't revenge. This was consequence. They'd tried to erase my struggle. The truth caught up. The day before the signing, Clean Water Global sent me a revised document. They'd added a clause, "All public communications will credit Lena Moore as the sole inventor. No other parties will be recognized as contributors unless verified by Ms. Moore in writing." Monday arrived. I wore a navy blazer and white shirt. Professional but simple. I walked into Clean Water Global's headquarters alone. No family. Just me and my lawyer. The CEO, Janet Reynolds, met me in the conference room. "We're honored to work with you, Ms. Moore. Your integrity impressed us as much as your invention." We signed the contracts. Photographers captured the moment. I held up the signed papers, my name clearly visible, Lena Moore, founder and CEO, Aqualite Innovations. Not with family support. Just my name. Just my work. Clean Water Global held a press conference that afternoon. Janet Reynolds stood at the podium with me beside her. Cameras flashed from every direction. Reporters filled the room. Janet's announcement was clear. "Today, Clean Water Global is proud to partner with Lena Moore, the sole inventor and developer of the Aqualite water filtration system. Ms. Moore's innovation will help us bring clean water to 3 million people within the next 5 years. She emphasized sole inventor twice. The message was unmistakable. During the Q&A, a reporter asked, "Ms. Moore, your father recently claimed involvement in your project. Can you comment?" The room went silent. Everyone leaned forward. I took a breath. My family didn't support this project. They called it a pipe dream. They told me to quit. I built Aqualite alone, in my apartment, with support from mentors who believed in the work, not in controlling the credit. My voice was steady. I'm grateful they taught me what resilience means. The next morning, headlines read, "Lena Moore sets record straight, I built this alone." The video clip from the press conference went viral. Social media erupted with support. People shared their own stories of family members trying to claim credit for their achievements. My parents watched from home. I didn't know this until later, but my Aunt Sarah told me they sat together in silence, staring at the TV, realizing they'd lost all leverage. They'd lost the ability to rewrite history. 3 days after the press conference, my mother called. I almost didn't answer. On the 7th ring, I picked up. She was crying. Real tears, I could hear them in her voice. "Lena, please. We've lost everything. Your father's partnership is gone. Friends won't return our calls. We need your help." My father's voice came through in the background, shaky and desperate. "Tell her about the mortgage. Tell her we might lose the house." My mother sobbed harder. "We made mistakes, but we're still your parents. You have all this money now. You could fix this for us. Please." I sat in my new apartment, a bright, spacious place with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, and felt nothing. Not anger. Not satisfaction. Just a quiet, hollow calm. "You taught me what failure means," I said softly. "You taught me that love has conditions. That worth is measured by success." My mother gasped. "We didn't mean," I cut her off gently. "You taught me to stand alone. To build without support. To trust myself when no one else would." I paused. Now I've redefined failure. It's not about falling down. It's about refusing to get back up. And I got back up. I ended the call before she could respond. I sat in silence for a long time afterward, watching the city lights blink on as evening fell. 6 months later, I stood backstage at a TEDx conference in Boston. The producer adjusted my microphone. "You're on in 2 minutes." My hands were sweaty, but my mind was clear. I'd titled my talk, "The Beauty of Being a Disappointment." I walked onto the red circle. The spotlight was warm. I saw hundreds of faces in the audience, and thousands more would watch online. "My parents called me their biggest disappointment," I began. "For a long time, I believed them. But disappointment is just deviation. I deviated from their plan. I chose a different path. I talked about the family dinner, about crying in my car, about working in my apartment. About Maya's belief, about Ethan's guidance, about the moment my prototype finally worked. About failing on stage and getting back up. About choosing to continue anyway. Being called a disappointment forced me to define success for myself, I said. Not by their metrics. Not by their approval. By impact. By integrity. By whether I could sleep at night knowing I tried my best. My voice grew stronger. It turns out, being a disappointment was the greatest gift. It set me free. The talk ended with a standing ovation. The video was posted online that evening. Within 3 days, it hit 10 million views. Even critics shared it. My parents never commented. I decided to visit my childhood home one last time. Not for reconciliation, I'd moved beyond needing that. But for closure. To see the place that shaped me and to feel nothing when I left. My mother opened the door. She looked older, smaller somehow. Tired. "Lena," she said quietly. "Come in." The house was the same, but the energy had changed. My father sat in his chair, reading a newspaper, or pretending to. Marcus wasn't there. Rachel had moved to Seattle for her residency. We were alone. We sat in the living room where I'd eaten 1,000 meals, where I'd heard countless times how I didn't measure up. "We watched your TED Talk," my mother said finally. "It was beautiful. You've done well for yourself." My father set down his newspaper. "We're proud of you, Lena." His voice cracked slightly. I looked at them both, these people who'd shaped my deepest insecurities and my greatest strengths. I felt pity. I felt distance. I felt surprisingly little anger. "I know you are," I said. "I'm proud of me too." My mother whispered, "Can you forgive us?" I considered the question carefully. "I forgive you for not believing in me. But I can't pretend it didn't happen. I can't be the daughter you wanted. I can only be who I am." The night before the Global Innovation Award ceremony, I couldn't sleep. I sat by my window, looking at the city lights, thinking about the girl I'd been just a year ago. Crying in her car. Deleting job applications. Wondering if her family was right. The ceremony was held in a grand theater. I wore a simple black dress and the small necklace Maya had given me, a compass pendant. "For always finding your true north," she'd said. Ethan sat in the third row, beaming. Tessa was there too, crying before I'd even won. The announcer's voice echoed. "This year's Global Innovation Award for Social Impact goes to Lena Moore, for her development of the Aqualite water filtration system, which has provided clean water to over 100,000 people in 12 countries." I walked onto the stage. Applause thundered. Camera flashes exploded like stars. I held the award, a heavy crystal piece engraved with my name, and looked out at the crowd. My parents weren't there. I'd sent an invitation, but they'd declined. Maybe it was too painful. Maybe they couldn't bear to see what they'd almost destroyed. I gave my acceptance speech, thanking Maya, Ethan, Tessa, and the non-profits who'd believed in clean water more than profits. As I walked off stage, I caught my reflection in the glass doors. I barely recognized the confident woman staring back. That night, news anchors reported my win. Engineer Lena Moore receives Global Innovation Award. My parents watched from home, silent. I was finally free from their shame. They'd called me a failure, but I'd become their lesson instead. What an amazing story. Thanks for watching till the end. Please let us know in the comments where you tuned in from. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, give us a thumbs up, share this story with others, and hit that notification bell to catch all our future content. See you in the next one.